ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Hello students, now let us continue with the differences. For the last class we studied very clearly about cyclic electron transport system. Now still I kept non-cyclic electron transport system on the board. Now clearly let us make differences between cyclic electron transport system and non-cyclic electron transport system. So to make the differences, still I kept non-cyclic electron transport system is in front of you. See in every step where the differences happen, recollect it and make sure that you remember, because the concept is very important. Yeah. So let us make differences between a cyclic and non-cyclic electron transport system. So better I will write little up. Yes. So guys, cyclic starts with what here? The cyclic starts with photosystem 1. So it includes only P700. It operates with only one photosystem. So here only one photosystem participate. Here only one photosystem participates. Which is that only one photosystem which participates here? That is nothing but what? A cyclic electron transport system. Which is that one photosystem here? That one photosystem what you find here is nothing but P700. But coming to non-cyclic, here both participates. So I can write here both photosystems participate. Both photosystems participates. Which both photosystems here? Non-cyclic includes both PS2 and PS2 is nothing but what? Itself it's called as P680 and also includes PS1 itself is called P700. Non-cyclic electron transport system, it includes both photosystems. Photosystem 2 and 1 we are writing in the sequence. It starts with photosystem 2 and ends with photosystem 1. Non-cyclic includes both photosystems participation. Both photosystems are participated. Here both participates. Both photosystems are participated. Both PS1 and PS2, but here only PS1. Right. Here it includes, better you can take here, red mark is visible I think. It includes a higher, it absorbs, better you can write down, it absorbs a higher wavelength of light. In non-cyclic electron transport system, it absorbs both. It absorbs both means which one? Higher wavelength as well as a shorter wavelength of light. What's the meaning of this? Now if you take in this, higher wavelength of light means how much? 700 nanometers wavelength of light. Here only it operates and absorbs higher wavelength of light. Coming to non-cyclic, it absorbs both higher wavelength of light as well as shorter wavelength of light. Meaning what here? Here 700 nanometers wavelength of light, here 680 nanometers wavelength of light. Both higher and shorter wavelength of light, both are being observed in case of non-cyclic electron transport system. Right. Now apart from this, excuse me, now let us continue with this. Now when you take here, we say electrons move in In cyclic, electrons, but you write completely, electrons move in a circle pathway. What's the meaning of this? Where it starts with PS1, enters again back into PS1. So, electrons move in a circle pathway, whereas here electrons move in zigzag pathway. Zigzag pathway. That's why it's also called as what? A Z scheme. Non-cyclic itself is called as what? A Z scheme pathway. Why non-cyclic itself is called Z scheme pathway? Why? Because electrons move in zigzag pathway, and it's called Z scheme because electrons which started from PS2 ends with PS1 and they will not come back to PS2. That's why electrons move in zigzag manner. Here electrons move in a circular manner. Right. Next point, very important one. Let us take that. In cyclic here, cyclic electron transport system, when you take here as it operates with PS1, what do you say here? There is a synthesis of only a 1 ATP molecule, and here what else we said? No synthesis of no NADPH synthesis. So, there is only one ATP molecule. Coming to in non-cyclic, there is a synthesis of 2 ATP molecules and 1 NADPH2. What is the energy output in case of a non-cyclic electron transport system? In non-cyclic electron transport system, 2 molecules of ATP and 1 molecule of NADPH2 are produced as an output of energy. But coming to in case of cyclic electron transport system, only 1 ATP and NADPH2 is 0. So, sometimes you will get the question that ratio between number of ATP between cyclic and non-cyclic 1:2. The same question with the twisted thing, number of ATP between non-cyclic to cyclic 2:1. Number of ATP, NADPH with cyclic and non-cyclic, cyclic is 0, non-cyclic is 1, 0:1, non-cyclic to cyclic 1:0, very important. Now here as PS1 is only involved here, what else we say? No splitting of water, no photolysis of water, and here NO, no I am writing, not number, NO, no oxygen evolving complex. There is no oxygen evolving complex. No oxygen is released, but you know it very well here. Yes, there is a photolysis of water. Photolysis of water occurs with what? Photolysis of water occurs with PS2, and there is a release of oxygen, meaning here there is a oxygen evolving complex, right? Here no NADPH, clearly you have to remember in your mind, this part is very important. No splitting of water, no oxygen evolving complex, but here yes, splitting of water occurs with PS2, not with PS1, only with PS2, but PS2 is absent here, that is why no splitting and no release of oxygen, but here oxygen evolving complex associated with photolysis of water occurs with PS2, right. Now, apart from this, if you look at this cyclic electron transmission, this point also important, you can write clearly, not inhibited by DCMU. Guys, try to remember what is that? DCMU. I will let you know what is DCMU. It was not inhibited by cyclic electron transport system is not inhibited by DCMU. I will tell you what is DCMU, but here remember the movement of electrons. I hope this is very clear for you to write. Movement of electrons occurs from where to where? movement of electrons occurs from PS2 to PS1. Where to where the movement of electrons is happening? The movement of electron from, better you write complete statement, from PS2 to PS1 continue further is inhibited by DCMU. Inhibited by DCMU. I will repeat again. Cyclic electron transport system is not inhibited by DCMU, but in this case non-cyclic electron transport system definitely it is inhibited by DCMU. What is inhibited in this case here? The movement of electron from PS2 to PS1 is inhibited by DCMU. Okay. So, I think up to here this part is very clear. Somewhere at one corner of the class you just write down the note point. So, here somewhere you can write the note point. What is DCMU? DCMU is nothing but dichlorofenylmethylurea. Okay, this is used as a fungicide to kill the fungi. So, I think better let me write here, this part I will write here. So, take the note point here. Okay. Note point, very important note point. What we are speaking about? We are speaking about DCMU. This is a previous NEET question. Guys, this is a previous NEET question. What is DCMU here? First of all, the compound is dichlorofenylmethylurea. I hope it is not visible to you. I think better let me write down. What is that? A dichlorofenylmethylurea. So, dichlorofenylmethylurea we simply call DCMU, right. What it is here? Actually this is a fungicide as well as it is used as a weedicide. It is most commonly, earlier farmers most frequently they used to make use of this chemical. Why they used to make use of this particular chemical? Especially to kill the fungi which is causing infection to the yield of the plants, and the DCMO also used as a weedicide for the control of weeds. What are weeds? Unnecessary plants which we do not want to grow in the field, right. So, DCMU is most widely used chemical as a fungicide, as a weedicide by the earlier farmers. Now it is totally banned because people identified that dichlorofenylmercuric it has ability. So, here PS2 is there, again PS2, from PS2 to electrons are moving to PS1, right. So, in the same cycle electrons are moving from PS2 to PS1. When excess amount of DCMU sprayed on the surface of the plant to kill fungi and also to control the weeds, it was observed that DCMU is blocking the electron movement. So, electron movement is not happening from PS2 to PS. As a result, what happens? No ATP synthesis followed by no NADPH because cycle got obstructed. So, there is no ATP synthesis and there is no NADPH2 synthesis, both are being blocked. Why? Because electron is blocked coming from PS2 to PS1. So, non-cyclic electron transport system, it was observed that just to external spray of DCMU, once upon a time it is most commonly used fungicide and it was used as a weedicide. Because of the spray of this, unknown farmers, poor farmers, just to kill the fungi they spray, or to remove the weeds beside the plants they will spray. But what is happening here? The spray of DCMU, it inhibits the movement of electron. What we have written? It inhibits the movement of electron from PS2 to PS1, inhibited by DCMU. When electron is blocked moving from PS2 to PS1, what is the impact? There is no ATP synthesis. As cycle cannot continue, no NADPH synthesis. If there is no energy when the plant is, how do you think plant operate metabolisms, metabolic pathways? So it causes killing of the plant. So now it is completely banned the usage of DCMU, but once upon a time farmers most frequently they used to make use of DCMU. So when the previous question is which cycle get affected by DCMU? Definitely not cyclic, because cyclic operates from PS2 to PS itself is a cyclic. So PS1 is not inhibited by DCMU, but non-cyclic it got inhibited by DCMU. Now let us continue the differences here. Main differences are this. Let us continue further. Let us see even other differences. What are the other differences we have? So if you take, so here in this case what happens? Only one quinone cycle. Okay, coming to this, here we have two quinone cycles. One quinone cycles, but here two quinone cycles. Okay, number of protons from stroma. Number of protons from stroma. Here also 2. For non-cyclic electron transport system also 2. Right? Number of protons from stroma. When you take here, here also 2, and definitely there also 2 from stroma. Here this all together, sorry, that is why I am writing here. This is 4. This is 4. Why? Because 4 here, because these two protons for synthesis of 1 ATP, but here 2 protons are utilized for ATP and 2 protons are being utilized for NADPH. Yes. So now the question is total number of protons used or utilized in cyclic electron transport system. What are the total number of electrons? So 1 electron giving 2 protons, stroma is giving 2 protons. Total number of protons how many? Totally 4 protons. Yes or no? Total number of protons utilized in what you call a cyclic electron transport system. We say 1 electron giving 2 protons, from the stroma 2 protons, altogether there is a formation, there is utilization of 4 protons for synthesis of 1 ATP. Coming to the same question asked for a non-cyclic, the total number of protons utilized or used in non-cyclic if you take. So same thing here, but 2 electrons, altogether 4 protons, and stroma also gives 4 protons. Why? Because 2 protons for ATP synthesis, here we have written. Yes or no? This is stroma. This is stroma only, because number of protons from stroma, this is stroma only. So no need to write again here. No need to write again here, because whenever you get doubt how stroma contributes for 4 protons means the answer is here. Only from stroma how many protons are contributed, and you have to see very carefully the question, guys. Suppose if the question is number of protons from stroma utilized in cyclic means only 2, and that too for 1 ATP synthesis. If the same question arises, number of protons from stroma used in non-cyclic means 4. Why? Because 4 protons. So here we take 2 protons and here we take 4 protons. This is only for stroma. Why stroma contributes 4 protons? 2 protons are for 1 ATP and 2 protons for NADPH. Yes, so here total number of protons here used means altogether 8 protons. Why 8 protons? 2 are from electrons and 4 are from 2 electrons and 4 protons are from stroma. Total number of protons used here is nothing but 8 protons. Altogether 8 protons. In this, stroma contributes 4 protons, 2 are for ATP, 2 are for NADPH. Remaining 4 protons contributes for electron. Ratio between number of protons contributed by electrons and stroma. Question can come from any corner. From stroma to electrons in non-cyclic is 1:2. Okay, so the stroma, the number of protons contributed here also 1:1, but here this is 1 electron and stroma with 2 protons, but here 2 electrons and stroma with 4 protons. But number of protons which are contributed in with the electrons in both the cases it is 1:1. Why? Because here 1 electron 2 protons, here stroma also 2 protons here. So here electron to stroma, the ratio when it is asked, number of electrons and number of protons of electrons contribution and number of protons of stroma contribution, when ratio is being asked between electron contribution of proton, stroma contribution of the protons, it is 1:1 in both the cases. Don't get confusion. In non-cyclic also 2 electrons 4 protons, stroma also 4 protons. Proton contribution between electron and stroma in non-cyclic also same, 1:1. Number of times I say also, people always they confuse here. And after the exam they will tell me that ma'am here only 1 electron 2 proton, no, here 2 electrons 4 protons, no, how 1:1 ratio will come. So here in this the question can come from anywhere. Number of protons from stroma, here 1:2 in cyclic and non-cyclic. Okay, and suppose if the question is very clear, you have to see the question, number of protons for ATP synthesis in cyclic and non-cyclic, then 1:1 will come. Why? Because here 2 protons ATP, here also 2 protons ATP, then 1:1 will come. If the question is number of protons from stroma, cyclic to non-cyclic means 2 and 4, so 1:2 will come. So if you are so thorough with the concept here, then any question from any concept you can answer clearly. I asked you just now the ratio between electron to stroma of their proton contribution is 1:1. Suppose if the question is total number of protons utilized is here is 4, total number of utilized protons are 8. So what is the ratio? 1:2, right? Similarly, suppose they ask the question proton contribution of stroma of this to this, then 1:2. The protons coming from electrons of cyclic to non-cyclic, here 2, here 4, 1:2. So according to the question, guys, you have number of questions to answer. Mostly with cyclic and non-cyclic only, people always they get confusion in answering the weekend exams. If you are thorough with the differences so clearly here and there, then nothing can confuse you from any part of concept. I think now you are very clear with cyclic electron transport system and non-cyclic electron transport system, right? Yes. And in case of one more very important point, the primary electron acceptor, okay, primary electron acceptor, I will write here better. So whenever the question is primary electron acceptor in PS2, from PS2, I told you know this one, primary electron acceptor from PS2 what is the answer you have to write? Pheophytene. Pheophytene. Okay. Similarly, if we get the question that primary electron acceptor from PS1, it may be the question is related to cyclic or it may be the question is related to non-cyclic, no matter, but you have to take unnamed compound or unknown compound. Sometimes this will be the option. If this is not there, they may give you the concept or the option as component of ferredoxin, Sometimes even this is not there in the given options, then you have to take iron sulfur protein or iron sulfur complex. Okay, so you have to remember. So if at all the question is primary electron acceptor from PS1, then unnamed or unknown compound. If not, this is not there in option, then you can take component of ferredoxin, or that is also identified, it may be made up of iron sulfur protein. If this is not there, then you have to choose the option as iron sulfur protein component or complex. So this is for if at all the question is the primary electron acceptor from PS1, it is from PS1, very important, right. So I think now you are very clear with a non-cyclic electron transport system and cyclic electron transport system. Guys, I am repeatedly telling you, practice on white papers quite a number of times, and once if you make clear differences between PS1 and PS2, non-cyclic and cyclic electron transport system, and draw both cycles side by side on a white paper, see the clearly the differences and see where there is a possibility of getting questions, and even thoroughly be thorough with the concept of differences between cyclic electron transport system and non-cyclic electron transport system, right. Let us continue further. Now let us make clear differences between photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Okay. So here let us take photosystem 1 and then photosystem 2. Photosystem 1 itself is also called as what? P700. Photosystem 2 itself is called as P680. Now let us make the clear differences between photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, right. So the same, almost the same similarities come when compared with, because we already have studied a cyclic and non-cyclic electron transport system, right. So here photosystem 1, here it absorbs, you can write same, it absorbs a 700 nanometers wavelength of light, that is nothing but a higher, right. We already know that very clear difference. Coming to here, even you can also see it absorbs 680 nanometers wavelength of light. Now look at very clearly the differences between photosystem 1 and 2. Now you know very clearly cyclic pathway totally you know, non-cyclic pathway you know totally. Now keeping that in your mind, let us make clear differences between photosystem 1 that is P700 and photosystem 2 that is P680. Now in this case if you look at very clearly as it absorbs higher wavelength of light and lower wavelength of light. Now here when you look at the photosystem totally on the surface here, now here it says that it contains, I told you earlier also, more carotenes. Here it contains more xanthophylls. Right? I think I told you very clearly earlier is here it contains more of carotenes and here it contains more of xanthophylls. Guys, did you remember? Right, we have discussed very clearly if this is chlorophyll A absorbs 700 nanometers surrounded by chlorophyll B, right, C, chlorophyll C, chlorophyll D, chlorophyll E, and then more of carotenes, yes or no, then you can see more of carotenes. C means carotenes, you can see more number of carotenes. If more number of carotenes are there, C means carotenes, if more carotenes are there, you have to identify this is photosystem 1, right. Similarly, if you observe in case of photosystem 2, so here I am just drawing chlorophyll A, here it absorbs 680 nanometers of wavelength of light. Here also it contains chlorophyll B, chlorophyll C, chlorophyll D, chlorophyll E, but along with that it contains more of xanthophylls. If more number of xanthophylls are there, then that will be identified, more of xanthophylls, then that will be identified as PS2. So very clearly we can make out the differences. So here it contains more of carotenes, then we can identify that as photosystem 1. If it contains more of xanthophylls, that we can identify as photosystem 2, right. Now apart from this, now here the ratio between, you can say the ratio between chlorophyll A by B, here it is, we can say 25:1, you can take 25:1. What is that ratio? The ratio between chlorophyll A to chlorophyll B. What is the meaning of that? For every 25 molecules of A, there will be one chlorophyll B, right. Reaction center, it absorbs more light, right. Now coming to here, the same thing if you look at, so the ratio between chlorophyll A by B in this case is 5:1. So 5:1 you have to remember, here you have to remember 25:1, right. So apart from this, now coming to the ratio between chlorophyll A to carotenes, here it is 1:4, this is 1:4. For every one chlorophyll molecule there are 4 carotenes. Between chlorophyll A to carotenes ratio is 1:4. Coming to here, the ratio between chlorophyll A to carotenes, not xanthophylls, for carotenes, and the ratio here it is approximately 1:1. What is the ratio? Here we find 1:1. Not with xanthophylls. Try to remember the ratio between chlorophyll A to carotenes. Here it is 1:1. Here it is 1:4. Right. Now further if you look at, we have some more differences here. Now if you look at in this case photosystem 1, Here important point, all are important points, all are important differences. Guys, you need to practice and you have to remember all the differences. Now photosystem 1, it obtains electrons from here PS2 in non-system, in non-cyclic electron transport system or Z scheme. Very, very important. Okay, what is that meaning here? It obtain electrons from PS2. From where? From PS1 will get electrons. PS1 will get electrons from PS2, where in non-cyclic electron transport system or itself is called Z scheme. Right. Coming to here, PS2 will get electrons from where? So PS2 gets electrons, meaning it obtains electrons from where it will get electrons? It get electrons from photolysis of water. Photolysis of water means it gets electron from water. Simply better you write down water. It gets electrons from where? It will get electrons from water. Let us make it that as the next point. Better you write down it here, it get electrons from water. Very, very important. Got it? I hope you are very clear. It obtains means what? PS1 obtains electrons from where? PS2, where? In non-cyclic electron transport system or Z scheme. The same question, if it comes for that, everything is questions, everything has a possibility of getting questions. If it on the question is in non-cyclic or Z scheme, PS1 get electrons from where? Means PS2. Suppose the same question in non-cyclic electron transport system, PS2 gets electrons from where? PS2 gets electrons from water. Right? Very, very clear, right? Now here, what is the next point, immediate point here? Here splitting of water occurs. Very, very important. All points are very important. Everything has a possibility of getting the questions here. So what you can write? Here splitting of water or photolysis of water takes place. Right? Here splitting of water or photolysis of water takes place. But in this case, what is that? No splitting of water or no photolysis of water. Very, very important. Splitting of water does not take place in case of PS1, but it takes place in case of PS2. Each and every point is very, very important. I am telling you. So if you come back also after that, you have to write all exams. In every exam, almost we need to touch each and every question. Every point you will get it in the form of a question. Very, very, very important. If you can make out these differences between photosystem 1 and 2 and the differences between non-cyclic and cyclic, then you will get full clarity in your mind. Then only you can trigger and answer any question from any part of the concept. So before, some more differences are there. Before we discuss some more differences, let us see quickly the points here. Very, very important points, guys. Guys, make sure that you attend to this, keep an attention to this and make sure that you write down in your notes. Right? So PS1 it absorbs 700 nanometers wavelength of light. As you all know, PS2 absorbs 680 nanometers wavelength of light. Make a clear difference in your young mind. Right? Now, it contains, that means it takes higher wavelength. Here it is shorter wavelength. Right? Now, here it contains more of carotenes. How do you identify PS1 and PS2? If more carotenes are there, take it that is PS1. If more xanthophylls are there, that is PS2. If at all the question is ratio between A by B, this is 25:1. Here ratio between A by B is 5:1, right? And whenever the question is ratio between chlorophyll A, universal pigment, right? Cheap pigment, chlorophyll A to carotenes 1:4 and same thing asked for PS2, the ratio is 1:1. Right, and it obtains electrons from PS2 in Z scheme or non-cyclic. PS1 gets electrons from where? PS2. Here PS2 get electrons from where? From water. Why? Here photolysis of water takes place, but here no photolysis of water. Let us continue. We have some more differences we have. నిమిషం ఆపండి సార్.
ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.